Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, my fellow XRP holders. Today is the day the world's first ever spot XRP ETF is going live a mere several hours from now, as of the time I'm recording this. And it is 3:31 a.m. Central Time, so it's early in the a.m. as I record this. Thursday, November 13th, 2025. But yeah, absolutely, it's about to go live. And I'm going to share with you perspective from tons of analysts, including a whole bunch of XRP chart analysts. And I just got to tell you this at the outset. It does not make sense to be bearish about the crypto market, especially XRP, at this particular juncture in time. It would just be bizarre if the best is behind us. This time would have to be different. And there are so many reasons for that. Now, as far as, and I'll say this at the outset, as far as the spot XRP ETF, I am thrilled about this. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in the short term. I absolutely am happy to predict, broadly speaking, that the demand that's going to flow into the spot XRP ETF, even in the short term, I think it's going to dwarf what most people are expecting. That said, I continue to hold the same opinion I have been spouting for like the last year or however long I've been talking about this, about XRP spot ETFs specifically. I firmly believe that the most important consequence, positive consequence of this, that's going to come will be over a span of years and decades. That doesn't mean it can't matter to some degree in the short term. This is certainly great for sentiment, and I'll take every little positive bit we can get at this point because the market's still bearish here. But it's also true that a lot of the times when you get a news event like this, and it's been known for some time that this was almost certainly going to happen, there's a chance it can be a sell the news event, but there's so many things happening that can affect the crypto market on the whole. That extra makes me not willing to predict what's going to happen. Like sometimes the answer is, I don't know. If that's the real answer, then that's the answer. We'll see what happens today. You know, crypto's been moving up, including XRP, throughout Wednesday. And again, now it's early in the AM Thursday as I record here. And I'll explain why, because this isn't the only big news event that matters to crypto. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, look at the screen here. Live coin watch, my friends. XRP, not only is it back to number 3 in terms of market cap, you'll love to see it. It is the number 1 performing coin out of the top 10 coins by market cap. Ethereum is up a little over 0.5%. XRP is up 3.24%. Every other coin in the top 10 is down, including the stable coins. You just gotta love to see it if you're an XRP holder. 24-hour high for XRP at $2.52, and it's been climbing up ever since Wednesday afternoon. Same story for Bitcoin. It's just that the move up is a bit more pronounced from XRP. But same story here. Bitcoin started climbing up here, $102,955. And why? Well, optimism that this was going to happen based on things coming out. This is a headline from Reuters. Trump signs deal to end longest U.S. government shutdown in history. And that bad boy, 43-day shutdown. Yeah, longest in history. Now, I published a video yesterday, and I went into a fair amount of detail explaining why this ending materially matters for the entire crypto asset class. The amount of money that is about to flood the crypto space is such that it is to such a degree. We haven't seen that since the pandemic half a decade ago. Can you believe it's been half a decade? Feels like just yesterday. I had to wear a mask everywhere. But here you go. Half a decade, roughly. And I mean, a little more than that. But think about that. The amount of money that flowed in, it was like $1 trillion that the TGA was holding that it couldn't disperse. Or well, it ultimately, no, that's not quite right. So right now we're at $1 trillion, almost anyway, that the TGA is holding that can't disperse. It's basically like the Fed's checking account, if you want to look at it like that. And I think we got up to, and I'm pulling from memory because I pulled up all the relevant data yesterday for when I was recording the video, but I think it was like 1.6 trillion. And then the better part of $1 trillion, though, flowed out of the TGA. And so in terms of the amount that's going to ultimately be dispersed in short order, it's basically equivalent. And you know what happened with markets. And a certain amount of that flowed into risk on assets. So anyway, if you want all of the specifics, check out my video literally just yesterday where I was talking about market activity. I went into great detail with all the specifics. think about it. This is what was stopping that, though. The government shutdown was stopping that from happening. Now it's going to start. And, it's not literally going to happen like a snap of a finger, but in the coming months, in fact, you're going to see a big impact, I think, in the coming weeks. And as the data rolls out, I'll be reporting it on my channel. But especially by, say, early next year, which, mind you, is only like a month and a half away. I think that a good chunk of this is going to be rolling out. And then if you look 6 months out, the amount of increased liquidity, I think it's going to be wild here. Now, as far as XRP specifically, like I said, today is the day, my friends. Take a look at this post from Eleanor Tarrant, former Fox Business journalist here. She wrote just yesterday, it was Wednesday evening, 4:37 p.m. Central Time, which means 5:37 p.m. Eastern Time. She wrote, new, as of 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Canary Capital's XRP ETF is officially effective after NASDAQ certified the listing, clearing XRPC for launch tomorrow at market open. And of course, XRPC is the ticker symbol for Canary Capital's XRP ETF. That's right. XRP on Wall Street. Biatches, don't you just love to see it? The answer is yes. Here's another post from Eleanor Tarrant. She wrote, Canary Capital CEO Stephen McClurg gave me this statement on the XRPC spot ETF. And so here now is the quote from Canary Capital's CEO. We are very excited to go effective with the first single token spot XRP ETF. This would not have been possible without the leadership of Chairman Atkins, Commissioner Peirce, and all the other fine people at the SEC who are pro-free markets. Indeed, that is the case. And there was the Rex Osprey spot XRP ETF in the United States, which is live, but that is not purely backed by XRP, so it's not quite the same animal. Very happy that it's out there for people that want it. But this is the real deal. This is the one that we've been waiting for, and it turns out Canary Capital, congratulations to them, looks like they're going to be first to market. Here's a post from Eric Balkunas. He's a senior ETF analyst for Bloomberg. He was sharing this news this afternoon. He wrote, the official listing notice for XRPC has arrived from NASDAQ. Looks like tomorrow is on for the launch. And when he says tomorrow, that's because he posted this yesterday afternoon. So it is today, November 13th, that he is referencing. You just love to see it. Again, XRP on frickin' Wall Street. Yes, please. I'll take two. And then Cointelegraph, they also reported on this. They shared this post yesterday at 8:30 p.m. in the evening, November 12th. On November 12th, they wrote, NASDAQ has officially certified Canary Capital's XRP ETF listing, XRPC, cleared to launch tomorrow at market open. So, folks, this is happening. Outside of something horrifically unforeseeable, the answer is yes. So, for most of you listening, it's probably already happened by the time you're listening. And again, so now it's 3:39 a.m. Central Time. I know some of you are listening fresh out the gate. Thanks for being early. Love to talk to you so early on. But for a lot of people, you're going to be seeing this news after. So I'm just telling you, it's a virtual certainty this is about to happen. It's as close to 100% as you can possibly get. But yet, look at the fear. Think about this. Think about the current setup we have here. You got the government shutdown ending. Liquidity is about to ridiculously flow into the market. And if you're an XRP holder, fantastic to see this news. It will materially impact the supply and demand dynamics for XRP. The XRP ETF. It absolutely will, because this ETF is backed by actual XRP. That is why this matters. But there's this post from chart analyst Psychedelic, who I only recently started following, but I've quickly become a fan of the vast majority of his posts, actually. I just think this guy makes sense, and he articulates in such a way that's really easy to understand for regular, simple little moon Lambos like myself. And so here he highlighted the Crypto Fear and Greed Index at 15 out of 100. That is extreme fear, my friends. And he wrote, this is insane. Fear and greed is at 15. And Bitcoin is at, checks notes, over 100,000 United States dollars. Bitcoin is down 20% from all-time high, and we are peaking extreme fear levels within bullish higher time frame structure. Are UMFers think we're going to $80,000? Good luck with that. Yeah, and I just got to tell you, whatever the popular sentiment is, it's not right. It just isn't. It just is. At the extremes, whatever the sentiment is at the extremes of highs and lows, it is consistently incorrect. Maybe if you search hard, you can find some sort of outlier I'm not thinking of, but the exception does not destroy the rule, my friends, even if you can find that. Do you really think? Because the popular opinion now is to be bearish. It's all going to hell in a handbasket. That's it. It's over, folks. Take your ball and go home. That's it. Yeah, I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it, folks. Here's a post from chart analyst Tech Dev. And I tell you what, if you want your XRP and your altcoins to rocket, then check this out. Because this chart shows Bitcoin, moving through the same repeating phases every cycle. There's the, of course, bear market, and then there's what he's labeling here as pre-parabolic and also parabolic. And of course, that's the fun part where number go up. Basically, all numbers go up, but this is a Bitcoin chart. But still, look, the reason I'm highlighting this, Bitcoin leads the market. But if this is indeed correct, if it's correct and Bitcoin goes on its final parabolic rally, well, historically, altcoins follow. And you can only imagine what that would mean for XRP. I'm assuming much higher. And so anyway, he says the colored zones come from a business cycle metric that tracks the rise and fall of global economic momentum. So, each time that metric bottoms, recovers and then it reaches its upper trend line, Bitcoin ends up, it leaves its slow pre-parabolic grind and it enters its true blow-off phase. Every single time this has happened, actually. And it's just data on your screen. You can obviously see this. So what makes this moment important is that the current pre-parabolic phase on the righter end of your screen here, it's the longest on record. And the business cycle signal is now approaching the same lower trend line that triggered Bitcoin's final melt ups, not downs, melt ups in prior cycles. And so if the pattern continues, it means the underlying macro conditions that drive the mania phase, they're in place or just about in place. Like we are right there on the precipice of like the craziness that leads to this. And so even if it's more dragged out, I say precipice, it doesn't literally mean it has to be tomorrow, but you can see what I'm talking about, right? Like things are in place. They literally are just in place. It's so obvious. And for altcoins like XRP, this is exactly the environment where they've historically just gone from lagging to outperforming because markets find bottoms. That's why I keep showing you charts also, not on the screen right now, but I show you like others priced against Bitcoin. That just means, altcoins, broadly speaking, priced against Bitcoin, denominated in Bitcoin. They're in the absolute gutter right now. Markets find bottoms. So they go from lagging to outperforming. So, look, Bitcoin's parabolic lag, it has always unlocked the liquidity and sentiment that sends capital cascading down the market. It's called rotation, my friends. And so if history rhymes with itself, as it tends to do, Bitcoin is nearing the ignition point. It just is. And of course, alt season, it follows. That's always what happens, my friends. I'm just telling you. And so TechDev shared this chart and he simply wrote, the record-long pre-parabolic phase may finally be nearing its end. And it is longer. Now, if you're wondering why I'm not going to get into it in this video, I've talked about it very much so in depth on this channel. Raoul Paul has fully explained why he believes it's the case. It has to do with debt refinancing changing from on average 4 years to 5 years, thanks to the pandemic. And that refinancing historically is what even started the 4-year cycle, which dates back to the great financial crisis, 2008. And so that's in a nutshell why it is. Too far outside the scope of this video to go into any greater detail than that, but I know there's always new people listening, so sometimes I like to reiterate that. So you can either Google that if you want to learn more, or just keep watching this channel because I'll be talking about that quite a bit to see if his thesis indeed is correct as time passes. Here's a post from on-chain analytics firm Sentiment, and this is so fun to see. Look at this. He wrote, traders' moods are fading toward crypto, which is welcomed news for the patient. And I will pause and note that they posted this 12 hours and 1 minute ago. It's now 3:45 a.m., so they posted this 3:44 p.m. yesterday, November 12th. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the XRP relevant portion, yes, I will. They were noting the sentiment for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, and it's not hot for any of them. So for XRP, they wrote, less than half of the comments are bullish versus bearish, one of the most fearful moments of 2025. And then on the chart, you can see they wrote XRP, twice as many bearish comments versus bullish. But, okay, so I understand that might sound like, oh, well, I don't want that to be that case. Are you sure about that? Take a look at this part. They write, when the crowd turns negative on assets, especially the top market caps in crypto, it is a signal that we are reaching the point of capitulation. Once retail sells off, key stakeholders scoop up the dropped coins and pump prices. It's not a matter of if, but when this will next happen. And so they're saying because people are fearful, just bring more of that fear. And then the smart money swoops in. It's a tale as old as time. The smart money swoops in and they buy coins on the cheap. They will purchase those, they will purchase the fear of the typical lemming retail speculator. That is always what happens. And that's why you see the smart money. So like the most wealthy investors in the space, you will see they very frequently do the opposite of what the small accounts are doing. They're small for a reason. I mean, it doesn't mean everybody, it doesn't mean like none of them can get ahead. But on the whole, if you're always looking at the accounts that are small, how they behave versus, the rich people, the larger accounts, yes, they behave differently. Because anybody that's rich, if they stopped behaving in that way, they'd cease to be rich. They would. Because the way that the poor people behave is clearly keeping them poor. So, maybe don't behave like that. It's a thought for anyone to consider. Cointelegraph shared the same chart from Sentiment here. And simply noted, just like it said, traders turning fearful on crypto with XRP showing twice as many bearish versus bullish comments. Negative sentiment often signals capitulation before rallies per Sentiment. And so look, anybody in the space that's been here for more than 5 seconds understands the concept. This is a good thing. This is what you want to see. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Wizard. XRP here. This is at market cap XRP dominance percentage chart. I'd love to see it. It says, putting up a fight, trying to break its downtrend. XRP dominance has been declining since July. The trend line and moving average have broken out as they did the last time, but bulls have work to do. Step it up to avoid a fake out. And so he seems to be optimistic there's a strong possibility it could occur right here. And also, I'll note, it's not surprising that XRP market dominance has fallen from a high of, looks like a little less than 6% down to when he posted this 4.17%. That's because in July, XRP, that's when it hit its all-time high of $3.65. And just kind of slid down price-wise. So yeah, the dominance comes down too. But it doesn't mean that it's over. I feel like we were getting teased there. And it was fun. Like that was a fun little tease. $3.65. You love to see it. It's still vindication for, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, having been here since 2017 and being told that XRP was going to fall out of the top 10 and go to 0. Yeah, that's vindication to me that all those stupid little idiots, freaking idiot sticks, said that was going to happen. And here we are. And the fundamentals for XRP have never been stronger. And I think it's just going to keep trending that way. Here's a post from chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto, XRP. This is an XRP BTC chart. And he said the same formation that leads to a massive rally, hard to ignore. And so I'll just highlight, this is yet another analyst that is noting, hey, XRP BTC chart looks pretty darn good and interesting. Here's a post from chart analyst Gordon, formerly known as Altcoin Gordon. I was seeking to see what he might have to say about XRP early in the AM today before recording this latest Moon Lambo hot jam, and I couldn't find him. I was like, what the hell happened? It's like, is this a countdown? What's going on? And then I found out that the reason my fail search for him is because he changed his name from Altcoin Gordon to just Gordon, and he changed his handle too, which is a risky thing to do. I mean, this is one of the largest accounts in crypto, 837,000 followers. He changed not just his written name here, but the handle. So if you search for it, you can't find him. So I just typed in Gordon and that popped up, because normally I type in like Altcoin Gordon if I'm looking for what he has to say. So it's like, risky move, man. You got that many people that are, used to looking for that. Now, he will still pop up in people's feeds, so I guess he doesn't care, but whew. But anyway, so he's got this XRP chart here. XRP right shoulder forming. That's what he wrote here. And so, of course, his chart shows an inverse head and shoulders pattern. That's on the 4-hour chart. And even a non-chart analyst like myself knows what this means because it's one of the most popular formations that gets spouted all over, and for good reason. But you can see, of course, here the left shoulder, and then the deeper down here, the head, and then what he's highlighted right here is the right shoulder starting to form. That's what he's speculating about. And so the key level is this neckline. That's this white trend line here of showing it as about $2.69. And so, of course, the key point being, if XRP can break and hold above that line, that confirms the pattern. And historically, that kind of breakout, it can lead to very strong continuation. And so the fact that he's highlighting this at the same time, so many analysts that I follow are like, yeah, XRP's looking prime. I'm just like, okay, here's another reason from an analyst to believe that might be the case. So, but yeah, it is true. Like this type of setup, it can signal that the next leg for XRP is going to be higher, and sooner rather than later, of course. Here's a post from chart analyst X-Force Global, XRP. And he posted this just a few hours ago, 11:32 p.m. Central Time, of course, on Wednesday. So, yeah, just a few hours ago. It says, what's crazy is that XRP has been holding these levels for nearly 1 year now. If we go to even just $10, XRP will have created a new price floor. And at that point, we will never revisit below $1. Okay. Now, a lot of people have predicted over the years we'll never go below so-and-so price, and then they're wrong almost 100% of the time. But I will say here, given this environment and where we are, and we haven't even had alt season, this is a little bit safer of a prediction, I would guess. He could be right. And I don't make price predictions myself. I don't pretend to know where XRP price is going to go. But if XRP indeed does go above $10, I mean, you got to pull back over 90% to go below $1. So the idea that XRP is never going to go below $1 ever again, that actually could finally be the case. People have, embarrassingly predicted that many times over the years, and they've just been wrong. Could be the case here. Markets always find bottoms, folks. Here's a post from Charting Guy, and this is just a few hours ago, also 10:03 p.m. Just last night, Wednesday. And he said, XRP remains the most bullish chart in crypto by far. And then in a separate post at 11:23 p.m., just a few hours ago, he elaborated. He wrote, XRP has held up the best on dips, has recovered faster and more than anything else, has traded sideways in a range all year while every other coin has crashed, has outperformed 99.9% of the market the past year, and this whole cycle. It's literally not even close. And so when I see the people who have been holding XRP, especially if you've only been holding it maybe a year, a little over a year, a little less than that, I'm like, man, you need some freaking perspective if you're having emotional troubles at this particular juncture in time. First of all, once a coin goes up as much as XRP did as of early November of last year, it's not uncommon for it to consolidate for a long time. But even in the environment that we've been in, which has been for most of 2025 in crypto kind of lackluster, you should still be thrilled if you're an XRP holder. Why would you not be? XRP rocketed to a new all-time high, like I said, $3.65 in July. And for most of the year, even while it was ranging, he's got a great point here. So many coins were cratering down. Tons of them were cratering down in price. And XRP just kind of held and moved sideways for most of it. Does that not show incredible strength? Is that not impressive to you? Because to me it is. What an incredible performance for a coin that I was told for years I was wrong about. I was told it was falling out of the top 10 coins by market cap. Well, the idiots that said that were just that, idiots, and their stupid comments have aged like a fine milk. Here's a post from Chart Nerd. He says, XRP $2.70 remains the resistance to break to kickstart the run back towards all-time highs and beyond. And he has made it clear he still believes that's going to happen. In many posts, not on the screen right now, he has predicted that XRP may hit as high as $27 this market cycle. That's his opinion. Here's a post from CW. And this is just from earlier this morning, 12:57 a.m., November 13th. So a few hours ago, he said, XRP is liquidating high leverage short positions. And you love to see it. You love to see it. I don't care if you're long and you're shorting XRP. I think regardless of whether you're long or short XRP, and if you're using leverage, that's stupid for almost 100% of humans. You may be, one of the rare traders that's talented and you're properly using it, and it more frequently benefits you than not. For most people, it's just not the case. It is just not the case. If it were the case, this type of opportunity would not even exist. So it's bad for most people. It's just like, it's so crazy to me. You have an opportunity for thousands of percentage point gains just by holding crypto, especially XRP, over a span of years. And that's just not enough for you. You got to be greedy. You got to add leverage and add a certain percentage of opportunity you actually get liquidated. Okay, buddy. And then there was this post from Bobby A. And this is the most bearish post I can find, but I'm not afraid to share this. He also is an XRP. He's pro XRP, just to be clear. He does believe XRP's best days are ahead, but in the short term, he has been very critical. But I'm always happy to share even the negative views, because I want to share a diverse perspective from analysts that I know have good track records. And then you guys are intelligent. You can come to your own conclusions about what you think is probable. This is a minority opinion. And I'll just note, sometimes minority opinions end up being correct. Usually they're not. And so out of the analysts I follow, this is definitely a minority opinion. But he's got a great track record. He's been right about XRP breaking out this market cycle and on a number of other things. So nothing but respect for the guy. You just decide what you what you think makes sense here. But somebody asked him, Bobby, do you think XRP has likely topped for the cycle? And Bobby A wrote, I think there's a 75% chance that XRP won't print a new all-time high within the next 4 to 6 months. Okay, so that actually didn't perfectly answer the question, because it depends on, how long do you think the cycle's going to go? So if the cycle's actually not going to peak, until the end of Q2, or what if it is early Q3? Well, he could certainly be correct then. He's not saying it won't go higher, but he does not find it probable that in the coming months we're going to see XRP go higher. Again, minority viewpoint, could be correct, and I'll give him all the credit in the world if he ends up being correct about that. But I'll just say this. If Raoul Paul's correct and global M2 is going to keep climbing the way that data indicates is most probable, and if that continues to matter, and I don't see why it wouldn't, then the idea of the crypto market peaking in Q1 or maybe Q2 of 2026, not crazy. Alt season would follow if history rhymes with itself, and it's just silly to think that XRP wouldn't follow and have a final euphoric blow off top. So I'm still banking on that. You guys tell me what you think. I'm an optimist, and I think for good reason here. So as I wrap up this video, XRP is at $2.50. It just went down to $2.49. Damn it, XRP, quit being a little baby back bitch. You know I love you. I can't stay mad at you, girl. Go back to 250. Do it. It's live coin watch. I'm hitting refresh. I don't even care. Do it. Go to 250. I'm trying to wrap up a hot jam here. Damn it. God damn it. I almost had it at 250, closing out the video. All right, well, I'm wrapping up here. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's still, honestly, this is a fantastic day. XRP ETFs, ETF, singular, launching. More are going to come, though. There are a bunch of XRP ETFs that should be launching anyway in the coming weeks. There are a bunch of firms that removed their delaying amendments that they filed with the SEC that sets the 20-day timer that makes it possible to launch. It's also possible, as I've reported in previous videos, that since, now we know the government shutdown's ended, you could have the SEC approve these other filings sooner. So they actually could, a bunch of them could just get approved on the same day. So we'll see what happens. But at a minimum, looks like we got one, folks. Today, it's finally happened. And again, if you've been around for years and years and years like I have been, I bet you're feeling the same as me. What a fantastic freaking day. It's just glorious. All the vindication in the world. The coin is supposed to go to zero. That's what we were told from the idiot sticks. Instead, it's got some of the strongest fundamentals in all of crypto. It just oozes utility. And multiple XRP ETFs coming, the first one today. Love to see it. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.